Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern. and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome here to the Michigan International Speedway as it plays host to the season finale of Season 6 in the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. That's right, at the conclusion of today's 80-lap event, we will be crowning ourselves a champion, and we will be crowning ourselves a champion for the first time in any of our four respective Championship 4's Duracell Cup Series career. The only shot we had at a multi-time champion was one half of the defending champions, Kyle Matthews, but a great run last week, ended up finishing inside of the top 5, but came up just short of advancing into the Final Four. He was in a must-win situation. He was the only former winner, the only former champion, I should say, that made it into the playoffs. Now, every driver that's battling for the championship here today are battling for the first ever time of hoisting that championship trophy. For two of the drivers, they're looking to do it here in their rookie campaign. We have never had a driver, a rookie, a full-time rookie, win the championship. I wanted to go back and look, and I forgot to. I wanted to see if we ever had a season where there were actually rookies in the Final Four. I don't recall us ever having two. We may have had one, but I don't remember exactly when that was or who the driver was at the time. But we might be setting an unprecedented mark here this season. We've already had some unprecedented moments. I mean, so far we've ended up having 12 drivers go to victory lane for the first time ever in their career this season. We've had 9 of those drivers be rookies. I mean, we started out this season with 13 rookies, and 9 of them have gone to victory lane, including twice, or back to 3 times rather, for rookie Destin Bolin. So that's what, 11 wins amongst 9 rookies right there. That's crazy. Who had that on their bingo card to start out the season? We've also had a number of drivers that we're used to seeing in victory lane season after season after season. They're coming into this season finale with a 0 still in the win column. So we'll see if one of them's going to be able to get their first win on the season to close out the year. But who knows? Who knows? Now, I've put this caveat in at every single elimination race that we've had this season. I'm human. I'm not a calculator. I try and do the points in my head as things are taking place. Do not take my word for it. Wait until the very end. Wait until you see when the stuff is calculated, the official point standings, etc. Last week was a case of that. Last week, I hyped up who I thought the Final Four were going to be. Michael Norman, obviously, with the victory, locked himself in to the Final Four. Charles Sanford, I said, looked like he was safe on points, locked himself in. That was true. Jack Dunnard looked like he was safe on points, locked himself in. That was true. Now, last week, I had Laura Chung, just based off the mathematics in my head, as the 4th and final driver. You guys saw when the points were calculated, the 4 highlighted drivers, Laura Chung was not one of those drivers. It was Destin Bolin by, I think it was 3 points, was above Laura Chung to be the 3rd driver in on points, the 4th driver into the Final Four. So it is Norman, Sanford, Dunnard, and Boland who are the Final 4 drivers to compete for the championship here today. Again, my apologies if I got people's hopes up thinking it was Laura Chung that was going to be in the Final Four, but you saw I gave the caveat that I don't necessarily always get it right doing the math in my head. You guys saw the official point standings at the conclusion of that broadcast, so you know that it is going to be 2 Ford Mustangs, 2 Chevrolet Camaros, 2 rookies, 2 grizzled veterans, but all looking for their first championship of their career. I might be wrong. I know Charles Sanford has never been, I don't think, in the Final Four. I can't recall. I think Michael Norman one season was in the championship battle. I could be wrong, though. If he wasn't, it's the first time that any of these drivers have been even gotten a whiff of a scent of the championship trophy in the Final Four. So it's going to be a lot of fun to see what happens here today. And it's Michigan. In the past 5 seasons, we have always ended out the year at Homestead Miami Speedway. Michigan and Homestead kind of did a little flip-flop. Michigan was normally race 8, race 9, somewhere in the first half of the regular season. Homestead was the season finale. Well, Homestead was in the first half of the regular season this year, and Michigan moved down to the last track that we visit here during the course of the schedule with the championship hanging in the balance. How will that play into today? Drivers are so used to going to Homestead. They're so used to strategizing for that mile and a half. Now we put them on a 2-mile speedway / super speedway. This is going to be a lot of fun to see who's going to be coming out on top in today's race. On the pole position is going to be Jose Mills, the most winningest driver of the Duracell Cup Series. 10 career victories, but this season, goose egg. No victories. Can he go coast to coast here today, end out the season with a victory? We'll have to wait and see. He's alongside of Noah Hendrickson. Hendrickson's put together a very nice rookie campaign. Granted, he's one of the 4 rookies that hasn't found victory lane. 9 of the 13 have all gone to victory lane this season, but Hendrickson currently sitting 23rd in the point standings, 3 top 5s, 6 top 10s. He's had a very consistent rookie campaign. He's just kind of been hovering there in the middle of the pack, but he's had a very nice rookie campaign. I think it's safe to say there in that Haas Racing entry. And he and Jose Mills making up this front row. Mills comes into this race 18th in points. They've both just kind of been hovering around the middle of the point standings most of the season, both looking for their first win on the season, maybe be able to end out the year with a checkered flag. Our final 4 drivers, you're probably wondering, where are they all starting? Is track position going to be that important here today at Michigan? I don't really think so, but just in case it is, Jack Dunard, he ended up getting the fastest qualifying effort over the other 3 Final Four competitors. He's going to roll off on the outside of row number 2 in the 4th position. Bear in mind, Auto Club, the sister track to Michigan, that was where Jack Dunard needed a good run to be able to get back into the top 30 in points to be in a playoff position. He had a solid outing there, so we'll see if maybe they brought that same car from Auto Club here to Michigan today. Dustin Bolin, the other rookie, he's going to be the next highest starter. He's going to be in the 16th position, just inside of the top 20. The veterans, though, Michael Norman, Charles Sanford, they're going to have to do it from outside the top 25. Charles is going to roll off outside of row 15 in 30th, and Michael Norman, who got that win last week, that last-ditch effort to get into the Final Four, got a lot of momentum on his side as he's the only driver of the Championship 4 that has not 1, but 2 wins here during the playoffs, including that win back at Lime Rock. He's going to roll off 32nd place, so he's got a lot of cars that he's got to pass to try and win the championship here today. But it's time to go down trackside. It's time to get those most famous words in motorsports. Let's go racing for a championship here today at Michigan.
Drivers, start your engines.
For one final time, the Toyota Camry TRD pace car going to lead the 42-car field off the grid. Starting lineup on the right side of your screen, your 4 playoff drivers, as I mentioned, highlighted in yellow. But for those 4, the goal is clear. Finish higher than your other 3 competitors. You don't have to win today. You just have to be the highest finisher, as all 4 come into this race tied with 5,000 points apiece. For the other 38 drivers in the field, it's just go out there and win. Go out there, get that last checkered flag of the season by any means necessary. It's the last race of the season. Bring me home the trophy or bring me home the steering wheel. Give it everything you got here in this final Season 6 Duracell Cup Series race. No former winners in the field here. Second straight week we've had no former winners in the field. However, the car that's starting on pole, the number 38 out of Blue Oval Automotive, went to victory lane in back-to-back seasons. Seasons 1 and 2 with the former Duracell Cup Series champion, Jordan Lopez. So Blue Oval has been very, very good here. As a matter of fact, Ford has been very good here. They have won 4 out of the 5 races that we have run in this series. Jordan Lopez twice, Adam Garcia, and Alex Tanker have all gone to victory lane for the Blue Ovals. Nathan Hudson, the lone Chevrolet, it was his first career win for Northeast Motorsports back in Season 3. Green flag in the air, and the Michigan International Speedway season finale is underway. Jose Mills going to lead them down into turn number 1. You're going to see these drivers based off of testing, 3 wide, several rows deep, all day long. And championship competitor Jack Dunnard right there on the top side of the first 3 wide formation around the 5th position as teammates will go side by side for the lead. Will Hoer, our winner from Las Vegas, former playoff contender, moving to the point, bringing Rob Evans and Levi McIntyre along with him. Who's going to lead lap number 1? Looks like it might be the Chevrolet of the Heritage Distilling Company Camaro of Rob Evans. Interesting point of note, all 4 of our championship competitors all started on the outside line. So it may be a little bit of time before we see them work their way up to the front, as they'll all try and migrate to the inside line to start making forward progress. 3 wide for the lead. Matt Haas in the middle. Ryan Brommer on the bottom. Rob Evans up top side. It's going to be the Brommer Toyota Camry that's going to lead them 3 abreast and lead that lap. Now Dylan Young with a push from Caleb Fogler. Caleb Fogler and Kyle Matthews at the conclusion of this race will no longer be able to be donned the defending champions of the series. Both of them former winners this year, though. Caleb Fogler winning in the playoffs. Kyle Matthews making the playoffs with his victory back at Coke Zero Super Speedway. Almost advanced into this Final 4. It's interesting when you look here as Carson Gum, Reese Banks, they're going to duke it out here for this lap lead, but it's interesting when you look at the different storylines of not just the drivers, but the teams they race for, the cars they're in coming into this race. Jack Dunnard in the number 88, the last time that car ran full time was back in Season 4. William Brock, that was when we had the charter system, and William Brock was 36th in points, the lowest of the chartered rides. And now, 2 seasons later, the 88 is in the hunt for a championship trophy. Destin Bolin in the 12 for Young Motorsports. The last time that in the charter system that the 12 car raced full time was Adam Garcia. That was back in, I believe that was also Season 4, as I don't like this 4 wide. Oh, no, there we go. Dylan Young, Ali Liera, Caleb Fogler, Matt Haas, and Carson Gum. Caution's going to come out. Oh, careful, guys. None of our playoff drivers were involved in that. That's why I was a little nervous. Oh, Carson Gum smoking. Ali Liera, a lot of damage as we're racing back here to the caution. LaPlante and Dullerton. I'll go back to my point about Destin Bolin in that 12 car in just a little bit, as LaPlante's going to lead us back here to the yellow. 5 cars involved in that one. None of our championship 4, so that was at least good to see. But 4 wide, not going to work here at Michigan. 3 wide works. They don't give a whole lot of room, but it still works. 4 wide is an absolute no. And Carson Gum, the former Duracell Cup Series champion, it's been a very struggling year for the driver out of Fortnite Squad Racing. Was 37th in points coming into this race, and doesn't look like he's going to finish much better, as that car is smoking. Ali Liera there in the 16, getting her 2nd career victory earlier on this year. Made it into the playoffs, and looks like she is going to finish the season finale behind the wall as well. Pit road will be open. We'll check back and see if anybody did come to pit lane or not. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. Starts with the 16 of Ali Liera and the 2 of Dylan Young. Then we just had a couple of other drivers that kind of got collected up in it, as I believe a follow-up or in reaction to what happened ahead of them. Nathan Ormond was the car in the middle. Yeah, Dylan kind of comes down into Nathan Ormond. Ormond gets into the right rear quarter panel of Ali Liera. That's a pretty hard lick there for the AccuDoc Solutions Chevrolet Camaro. Let's try and get another angle of it because I'm kind of curious of how Carson, what kind of a hit he took that all of a sudden we saw the black smoke pouring from beneath his Mountain Dew Baja Blast Chevrolet. Here's a look. Matt Haas up into Carson Gum and Caleb Fogler. There was contact into the passenger side door for the most part. I'm not sure if it hit somewhere maybe just behind the right front. I don't know how the hit actually affected the engine compartment in the front. I didn't see that big of an impact. Let's go on board with Carson Gum. Maybe we can hear something. They were going between 180, 190 miles per hour. Maybe that had something to do with it, but just right there, it didn't really look like there was a lot of front-end contact, so I don't know exactly what was hit that caused Carson Gum to immediately have that smoke billowing from underneath that car. But whatever it was, it obviously has taken him out of this race. And also the same for Ali Liera, both drivers in the garage area here, less than 10 laps into our season finale. We did have a number of drivers hit pit lane, it would appear. I believe most everybody came down pit road, waiting for scoring to tell if that's the case or not. I think everybody was on pit road. Austin LaPlante was the leader and came out as the race leader. Chris Dollerton second, Reggie Fogelman in third, fourth Zachary Fitzwater, and Nathan Ormond in fifth. Yeah, we're waiting on scoring to update, and indeed it just now has. Yes, everyone was on pit road under this caution period. Nick Gunther will line up in sixth, Benjamin Snyder seventh, Reese Banks eighth, ninth Cole Deaver, and 10th Ryan Brommer. Well, I got a chance before we go back green. Let me just quickly talk about what I was mentioning before we had that wreck take place with the 12 car. The 12 car for Young Motorsports, the last time it was fielded in a charter capacity was back in season 3, actually. Yeah, it was. It was in season 3. And it was Adam Garcia was the driver at the time. Garcia really struggled that year for most of the first half, if not 2/3 of that season. Garcia was dead last in the point standings. Now, granted, he actually did find his stride near the latter portion of the year, finished up inside of the top 25 in points, but it was a long road to get to that point. You fast forward here what would that be, 3 seasons later, Young Motorsports fields the 12 car again. They put rookie Destin Bolin, who we had no prior knowledge of in any series. He goes out there, he wins 3 races, he makes it into the playoffs, he advances up into the final 4. I mean, 3 wins, 5 top 10s, 5 top 5s, I should say, and 11 top 10s. That doesn't sound like rookie numbers. Destin Bolin has been a prodigy for Young Motorsports. That is for sure. You look at Michael Norman. Michael was actually the last driver out of his team to go to victory lane. Mitchell Collins won very early on at Manassas. Chris Dollerton, of course, won the week before in the big one, the Daytona 500. And Rick Johnson, the rookie of the team, went to victory lane at Texas. Michael didn't go to victory lane until the second half of the regular season at M&M Super Speedway before we started to mention his name up there towards the top of the point standings. He was in the hunt for the regular season championship. And then this playoffs, as mentioned, 2 wins in the 9 playoff races. He won at Lime Rock to lock himself into the round of 8, and then he won last week after back-to-back poor performances at Boston and Talladega. Took that checker flag last week at Rockingham for his 3rd win on the season and 2nd win of the playoffs to battle here for the championship. And then Charles Sanford, who really was one of the top 3 most consistent drivers down the home stretch. He, James Qualls, and Matt Haas really were the 3 most consistent drivers, and Sanford was the only one of the 3 that advanced into the playoffs with his win at Atlanta. he's got an opportunity to do something that no organization has ever done, and that is win multiple championships. So far in Duracell Cup Series competition, Rockin' Ranch Racing won the championship in Season 1. Season 2, it was Joanne Atwood Motorsports. Season 3, it was then Pigeon Racing, now Fortnite Squad Racing. Season 4, it was Blue Oval Automotive. Season 5, of course, was S3 Motorsports, and Charles Sanford has a chance for S3 Motorsports to win back-to-back championships here today. Green flag back in the air. Where did your Championship 4 restart? Let's find them. Looks like the highest was Michael Norman in 24th. Charles Sanford was 31st. Jack Donner was 38th. Where was Destin Bolin? Oh, Bolin was actually up in 12th. I missed him on the running order. So right now, Destin Bolin would be in the championship spot as things run right now, but still a long ways to go. 70 laps remaining when Nick Gunther, the new race leader, brings us around here to the start-finish line. What a year it's been for Nick Gunther. First ever 4-time winner in Duracell Cup Series history in a single season. That Project Mazda out of Fortnite Squad Racing. We got the report that Mazda will be expanding to 2 cars next year. Anthony McCrory going to be driving a Mazda for Fortnite Squad Racing as well. I mean, just read the line for Nick Gunther. Brand new race car making its debut in the series. 4 wins, 8 top 5s, 10 top 10s. Won the regular season championship as well. Unfortunately, he didn't advance into the round of 8. But a career year. It was the second straight time for Nick Gunther that he made it into the playoffs. Last year he made it into the playoffs with Anthony McCurry and Mike Tellier in the 55 out of Gunther Motorsports. So you got to think at the start of Season 7, Gunther is going to be someone a lot of people will be looking at. Reese Banks, one of the 9 rookies that found victory lane this year. A couple of weeks ago, his first career win at Talladega Superspeedway. Trying to see if he can get his second career win here to close out the year. James Quall still looking for his first win on the season. James, the 4th highest running driver in points that was not in the playoffs, so 20th overall. His top 10, the point standings most of the second half of the regular season, and you know there's been a lot of announcements of changes that are going to be taking place next year. Rumor circulating that Coda may actually be making its debut on the Duracell Cup Series schedule, and the playoffs will be getting a bit of a facelift. There'll be more official reports on it at a later date, but the word right now is that it may end up being the top 10 in points and 6 wildcard spots, as that was the 88 of Jack Dunnard on the apron. Unscheduled pit stop, apparently, for one of our Championship 4. What in the world has happened to Dunnard? He's going to fall a lap down because of this. Right out of the gate, one of the Championship 4 drivers with an issue. I don't know if there's anything that we'd be able to find out about it on the NNSCRA split cam or not, outside of just seeing him come to pit road. Oh, man. We'll try and follow up on that, but that is huge because that now leaves it down to 3 drivers to battle for this championship. And right now, Michael Norman, who started the furthest back of the Championship 4 in 32nd, he's now up into the top 5 here. His teammate Rick Johnson just took the race lead in the 93 car. Just saw Destin Bolin on the right side of the screen. He's now making his way up into the top 10. Yet to see Charles Sanford make an appearance up here at the front. As Jose Mills, now the pole sitter, trying to get back to the point. Jose still looking for, well, I was going to say his first lap led, but he actually did lead a lap at the start of this race. So he's looking for his second lap lead, actually. Here's your championship battle. The 12 of Destin Bolin on the inside of the 22 of Michael Norman. highest finisher of the 4 competitors wins the championship. Norman in the middle, Bolin on the bottom. Bottom line is the lines that is moving, so Destin Bolin going to go into the top 5, and right now he is in possession of the championship. Still a long ways to go, and maybe some green flag pit stops here along the way also. Don't know if we got maybe 1 round, maybe 2 rounds of green flag pit stops. We may not be done with cautions either. 1 caution so far here in the first 17 laps. None of our championship drivers were collected up in it. 2 drivers out of the race as a result, Ali Liera and Carson Gum. The official update, Jack Donard is 2 laps down in the 88 car. He's been able to latch on to some draft here with Dylan Young, Matt Haas, and Caleb Fogler, who all were involved in the early yellow flag, but 2 laps down. Kind of reminds me of the predicament that Kyle Matthews was in when he was 2 laps down, 2 or 3 laps down in the first race of the round of 8 at Boston. Basically just had to hope that the rest of the championship drivers had issues during the course of that race. Nobody on the same lap as you to be able to battle with. Just kind of mired in the spot that you're in. You have the teammates there. Benjamin Snyder getting a nice push there from team owner Jesse Turner. And now Turner's going to try and take a turn at the front. Cody Lamas right behind him. In the 13, Benjamin Miles. Cody 40th in points, Benjamin Miles 42nd in points. We saw those two actually try a little bit of unorthodox strategy last week at Rockingham. Nothing really to lose. Both trying to find victory lane for the first time this season. We might see them go a little bit off the sequence here today as well, in an attempt to try and capture a checkered flag before the conclusion of the season. Here's a car I think we have to keep an eye on. Auto Club, we call that the sister track, but we had 3 tracks that we were at, including Michigan today, that were 2 miles in length. Manassas was the other one. And Mitchell Collins took the checkered flag there back in race number 2. So keep an eye on this 33. Did not advance into the Final 4, was in the Elite 8, but nothing to lose now. Can go out there and try and get his 3rd win on the season, trying to join Michael Norman and Destin Bolin as a 3-time winner. I don't know if we've had as many multi-time winners in a Duracell Cup Series season as we've had this year. 4 for Nick Gunther, 3 for Bolin and Norman, 2 apiece for Mitchell Collins, Keith Batson, RJ Bishop, Ryan Butcher, and Daniel Voiles. I mentioned about the rookies, but we had a lot of drivers too get their first career wins that have been in the series for as many as 2-3 seasons, as Charles Sanford out in front there in the 0-3. Now he's going to lead this lap, but remember, we should remind, bonus points for laps led, most laps led will not count towards the championship. And are we going 4 wide? Oh, I don't like this. It's right around Sanford. Jessica Shelton, our winner from a couple of weeks ago at Boston, was in that 4 wide situation, and they settled it out. That had bad news for Charles Sanford written all over it, and I think Shelton realized it. That was close. Charles Sanford almost had his championship hopes eliminated right then and there. As Ryan Butcher, Quentin Moore, a couple of playoff contenders that were eliminated early on. Butcher was eliminated from the round of 16. Quentin Moore eliminated from the round of 12. And there's Chris Dollerton, who'd love to have a bookend season. Won the Daytona 500, the first race of the season. He'd love to win the last race of the season here at Michigan, as Destin Bolin now battling with Nick Gunther and Kyle Matthews for second. He's back up as the leading championship driver. But going back to what I was going to say, not only did we have the 9 different rookies go to victory lane this season for their first career wins, but 3 drivers went to victory lane for the first time in their careers, and they've run full time for 2 or 3 seasons. Joshua Osborne, RJ Bishop, and Daniel Voiles all found victory lane for the very first time in their Duracell Cup Series careers. Matter of fact, Voiles and RJ Bishop got their first and second career victories. Oh, big wreck! Jessica Shelton's up and over! Dylan Poteet's involved. Ryan Butcher, Levi McIntyre, Shelton finally comes back on all 4 wheels. Turner, Ormond, Quentin Moore. The caution is out. And again, I think all our championship 4 were not involved. Austin the Plant on the apron, damaged in that Ally Chevrolet. Oh, Quentin Moore, our winner from Dover. That car limping back around. There's going to be a lot of fluid laid down on the apron there, all the way from the exit of turn 2 to pit lane. Caution is out for the second time today. Wild ride for Jessica Shelton in that Course 02. McIntyre on pit road. Jesse Turner on pit road. I mentioned the fact a lot of these drivers, they're just in it for the checkered flag here today. The bring me the trophy, bring home the steering wheel mentality. I think that's why we're going to be seeing maybe a couple more of those really big violent wrecks before this race is over. High speed, high voltage incidents. Keith Batson, the race leader here, as pits will be open. I think everybody's going to be back on pit road again, much like they were under the first caution. Let's go back and take a look at what happened. Again, I believe all of our championship 4 were nowhere in the vicinity. Jack Dunnard, we know, was quite a ways back. He was about actually to maybe fall another lap down. This caution potentially might have saved him. Yeah, we saw Shelton in the middle of a 4 wide before, and she was able to back out of it. Not so lucky this time. Voiles forces the issue. Turner, Shelton, and Moore are the 4 wide situation. And right there, Voiles kind of pushed up and gets hooked in the right rear quarter panel. Oh, gosh, Shelton thought that wasn't going to barrel roll over, but somehow the weight distribution has her do a single tumble. Dylan Poteet and Ryan Butcher, they caught the very front end of this. Watch the 31 and the 78 there, left side of your screen. They get clipped by Daniel Voiles. Oh, Charles Sanford was right behind that. Holy cow. He almost was involved in that, guys. I don't know if you saw it. We're going to have to take an onboard with him because he was right behind that. I think it was Poteet that he had to swerve left to avoid. It's a couple of bullets Charles Sanford has dodged here today. Yeah, he was right behind this, actually. Sanford was on the top side of a 3 wide situation. And this is on board with him. Watch this. Oh, right there. Oh, and right there as well. Gracious. Almost came down to Anthony McCurry. Michael Norman was also behind this, but he fortunately was on the inside line, so not as much of an issue to get through. Here's on board with him. We see a lot of drivers moving around there, begging for space to be able to avoid the incident. Gotta be careful in that kind of a situation. But Sanford gets through. Norman gets through. Destin Bolin was, I believe, up ahead of this. He was battling at the time with Keith Batson for the race lead. And Jack Dunnard was actually just up ahead of them. As I mentioned, I thought that that caution saved him from going another lap down. That was indeed the case. Jack Dunnard would have been 3 laps down, and instead, with the timing of that caution, he remains 2 laps down. The bad news for him is, though, none of the other Championship 4 drivers were involved, and so they still are on the lead lap. He is still 2 laps down when we go back green. It's like about 5 drivers out of the race from that incident. Nathan Ormond, Levi McIntyre, Jesse Turner, Quentin Moore, and Jessica Shelton. They will join Ali Oliera and Carson Gum in the garage area. We'll have 35 drivers running, 34 of them on the lead lap. Dunnard, the lone driver, off the lead lap, -2 when he comes up here alongside of Nick Gunther, the new race leader, once we get the 1 lap to go indicator. You know, we can talk about point situations, trying to finish the highest in the points for these drivers that aren't battling for the championship. I don't honestly think anybody is really worried about that. Like, got Nathan Ormond, who was 21st in points. He could have finished top 20 in the point standings. Out of the race, Jessica Shelton. After that victory when we were at Boston, she was 24th in points. You know, there's a lot of these drivers that are out of the race after this wreck. I don't think they were even thinking about points. They could have cared less if they were 16th in overall points or 36th. I think they are just out there just trying to win this race. People say, well, you know, if you finish really high in the point stands, it gives you momentum for next season. It's a long off season. I don't really think that there's anything in that. Especially when you consider that it's Michigan. This is a track that we've already seen here in the first 25 laps, where track position doesn't really matter. You can work your way from the front to the back to the front again. Homestead's one of those tracks where it's a lot more difficult to pass. So the championship has fluctuated from Destin Bolin to Charles Sanford to Michael Norman. You know, lap after lap after lap. Whereas usually, when we were at Homestead in the finale, usually there was one driver that always kind of stood out and everybody else was chasing him. That's not been the case here today. Well, Nick Gunther getting ready to get us back under green. Rick Johnson lines up second. Destin Bolin, right now, holds the championship trophy in his grasp. If he can hold on to where he is, he restarts third. Then it's Joshua Osborne and Keith Batts in the top 5. Chris Dollerton 6th, Kyle Matthews 7th, Ryan Brommer in 8th, then Benjamin Snyder and Zachary Fitzwater going to complete the top 10. We mentioned it last week, but it's now official. Congratulations to Zachary Fitzwater. He is the Season 6 Duracell Cup Series Rookie of the Year. Came into tonight's race 29 points up on Jack Dunnard. Most a driver can get in rookie points per race is 10 maximum points. So there was no way that Zachary Fitzwater, even 3 weeks ago, was going to lose Rookie of the Year, but it's going to be official at the conclusion of today's race. Great job there in his rookie campaign. That 66 out of Evans Gardner Motorsports made the playoffs here for the first time in his rookie season, and did so with his first career victory back at one of the Crown Jewel races, the Brickyard, Indianapolis. So Destin Bolin started in the 3rd position for this restart. Michael Norman was 25th, and Charles Sanford was 14th. Doesn't mean much, though, because we've seen drivers be able to work their way from the back to the front in pretty quick fashion. Ryan Brommer. He'll go back to the point. You know, I mentioned about the fact Jose Mills and a number of other drivers still with a 0 in the win column. There's a lot of drivers here today I could see maybe getting this final victory on the season. Jose Mills, James Qualls, race leader Ryan Brommer. That 0-8 back there as well, Cole Deaver. He is right now the lone driver at S3 Motorsports that has not gone to victory lane. Sanford won Atlanta, Kyle Matthews won Coke Zero Super Speedway, and Shelton most recently won back at Boston. Deaver was a multi-time winner last year? No, season 4. In his second full-time season with S3 Motorsports. So far, he has not found victory lane. Anthony McCrory right there in the 61. He's still looking for his first victory on the year. Championship battle right here. Sanford in the 0-3. Bolin in the 12. Side by side. Michael Norman not up here right now. I think there was a bit of a gap from Chris Dollerton back to Reggie Fogelman because of the slow car of Jack Dunnard. Let's see if that second pack is going to be able to catch back up here. There's Michael Norman in this group. They got to hope for a caution or that they're going to be able to generate enough speed to get up here with the lead pack, which I think they might be able to do because they're all 3 wide, several rows deep. They're certainly not getting the optimal speed right now. And Charles Sanford going to move into 3rd, and right now he is in the championship lead. Let's look at Joanna Atwood Motorsports. 1-2 for Qualls and Osborne. Who leads the lap? I think it was Qualls barely. Can timing and scoring give us an update on what that interval was between the teammates at the line? Three 1,000s. James Qualls over Joshua Osborne, scoring says. Sanford now getting kicked up to the top line. Destin Boland's back on the bottom. And those two are going to go side by side again. This is for the, I believe, 6th position. And for the championship. Not even halfway through this race. We're working our, we just worked our fourth caution, or second caution of the day, as we might have our third. Collins, Gunther, Chung now, Brommer, McCreary, and there we go! Gunther gonna spin around. And is that the only driver? Just a solo spin for the 55? Wow. That's amazing. Michael Norman was back behind that. He gets through. Sanford and Bolin were ahead of it. And the 4-time winner, the Mazda of Nick Gunther, goes for a spin on the back straightaway for our third caution of the day. Joshua Osborne led us back to the caution. And there is the 55. Right side damage on that machine. We'll have to see if the other drivers that were involved, if they're sporting any damage. I was trying to keep my eye when we saw that incident. I was trying to keep my eye on the 22 of Michael Norman because I knew he was back behind the incident. He was up on the top side too, so he would have kind of been boxed in with nowhere to go if the 55 or any of the others involved had stayed up there against the outside retaining wall. He also almost got run over by Will Hoer in the 83, but was able to snake his way through. Here's a look at what happened. Yeah, just not a lot of room being given there. I think it was Nick Gunther, Laura Chung, and Ryan Brommer, the three that got some damage out of that. I think Anthony McCreary, who visibly looked like he would have been on the top side of a 4 wide, I think he backed off in time. Yeah, Brommer's definitely got some damage there on the left side. I'm sure if we got a camera shot on the right side, he would also have damage there. Laura Chung, left side looks good. Let's see if we can get a look at the right side here, and that looks relatively clean as well, surprisingly enough. I'll show you how close it was with Anthony McCreary. Maybe he makes a little bit of contact with the front end, but I think he had just backed out of this incident barely before this the contact was made. Oh, yep, little contact there. Got into the left rear of Ryan Brommer, but that could have been a lot worse. He could have been sandwiched up into the outside wall. And I mentioned the fact that Michael Norman was back behind this. Let's go on board with him. See just how close it really was. Snakes his way on by. Now what you didn't see, I think we've got a rear bumper cam here on Michael Norman. What you didn't see, and I was zoning in on, we're going to look from the back here. Watch the 83 of Will Hoer when he closes up on Norman here, who is slowing down for the wreck up ahead. Closing rate doesn't look as bad with the onboard, but it certainly looked like it was maybe going to be a little bit nerve-wracking from the spectator point of view. It looks like good to go there for Michael Norman. Jack Donard in the 88 on pit road. Pit road open for the lap down cars right now. Jack is 3 laps down, actually. No, he's 2 laps down. He just fell a 3rd lap down because he had to come to pit lane, but when we get back green, he would be 2 laps down to the leaders. And then if they bypass him, he would then be 3 laps down. Jack Donard, of course, one of our Championship 4 coming into this race, has been really good here in the playoffs. He's been arguably the best rookie in the playoffs by far. He had to get a good finish to advance into the playoffs, into the top 30 in points at Auto Club. He got that. He had to have a good run in the first elimination race at Nashville Superspeedway to advance into the round of 12. He got that. He had to have a good run in the elimination race to advance into the round of 8 at Arizona. He got that. And then he needed a decent run to be able to get himself above the cut line, which he was below heading into last week's race at Rockingham to advance into the Championship 4. He got that. Been very consistent here during the playoffs, but an early issue today that put him 3 laps down. And none of the other Championship 4 have run into any issues that have either put them off the lead lap or, at this point in time, has put them at a slow rate of speed. They're all on the lead lap and up to speed at this point in time. As a matter of fact, Destin Bolin, the 3-time winner, championship competitor, is the leader for this upcoming 3rd restart of the day. Again, a reminder though, you can lead a lap, you can lead the most laps. Those bonus points will not count towards the championship. It is the highest finisher of the Championship 4 that is going to claim the title of Season 6 Duracell Cup Series champion. So Charles Sanford, he has a lap led. Destin Bolin now has 2 laps led. Those don't count. Those bonus points do not count towards the points total at the end of this race. Joshua Osborne, he'll line up in 2nd. RJ Bishop now up here in 3rd. I think this is the first time, at least we've mentioned, RJ being up inside the top 5 today. And that's Chris Dallerton and Reggie Fogelman. That is the top 5. I actually just realized RJ Bishop and Michigan have a very interesting history because RJ Bishop drove in a non-charter capacity back in Season 4 for Young Motorsports. Here at Michigan, he ended up finishing 2nd place in a photo finish. I can't recall to whom, but that was enough for him to advance into the main event race the following day. He almost that day picked up the victory for his first career checkered flag. It was another photo finish. It was a 2nd place finish. He had back-to-back 2nd place finishes and photo finishes here at this very racetrack. So maybe he thinks Michigan owes him one from a couple of seasons ago as he's looking for his 3rd career victory, 3rd win on the season in car number 98. It was actually the number 12 car that RJ Bishop was driving 2 seasons ago in that non-charter capacity, and now the number 12 out of Young Motorsports has Destin Bolin behind the wheel, leading us under the green. Charles Sanford restarted 12th. Michael Norman restarted 16th for those that are keeping track of where the final 4 are at. And we got to keep an eye on this because Jack Durant kind of held up a bunch of drivers before on the previous restart. Looks like the 03 and the 22 are on the inside line, so they're going to make their way around the slower Budweiser Chevrolet. Jack Dunnard was not involved in any wreck, so I'm wondering if the 88 who had that unscheduled pit stop, I'm wondering if he's down a cylinder or something. It's got to be something mechanical. And what a race for it to happen here in the championship battle here, the season finale. That is a heartbreak. So he's just basically in ride mode now and hoping that this continues to be a race of attrition. So far, we've had 3 cautions, and the other 3 championship drivers have not been involved. RJ Bishop led the last lap. Zachary Fitzwater going to come around and lead this lap. Let's see if, Sanford is still up here with the lead pack, surrounded by teammates. Cole Deaver on the left, Kyle Matthews just behind. And there is Michael Norman in the 22. It's interesting, we mentioned about Mitchell Collins, who's now out in front here, the driver that won at Manassas, another of the 2-mile speedway / super speedways we were at. The other driver that won at the sister track, Auto Club, was Nick Gunther. So we ended up having playoff contenders win at the 2 previous 2-mile racetracks, but neither of them advanced into the final 4. Gunther was eliminated in the round of 12, and Mitchell Collins was eliminated in the round of 8 as we got another wreck. Cole Deaver, Joshua Osborne, and RJ Bishop have all gotten together. And the caution is not out? Oh, yes it is. Okay. Just took a little bit of time for the scoring to show that the caution was out. That 4 wide kind of caught me by surprise, I'm not going to lie. I was not expecting we were going to have a yellow there, as Dollerton leads them back here to the line. 4th caution of the day, just past the halfway point. And look at the 3 championship drivers that are on the lead lap. They're all up here together, Sanford, Norman, and Bolin. Last time by, where were they all situated? Let's wait for scoring to update itself here. Unless it's correct and they are waiting to cycle the right spots. Nope, now it's just now updating. Sanford is 3rd, Norman is 5th, and Bolin 6th. Oh my gosh. That is close. Alright, let's see what happened here, because I just caught the tail end of it. Again, like I said, didn't look like there was any situation that would have made me nervous for them to possibly be a wreck. Yeah, but they were 4 wide, so that actually formulated a lot quicker than I expected. Watch this. This looks relatively calm. Then watch how they get into a 4 wide formation very quickly, right here. Oh yeah, because RJ Bishop drove up the middle between Cole Deaver and Joshua Osborne. Well, that's a big hit for Cole Deaver. And then you had this oncoming traffic there. Oh gosh, Ryan Brommer nearly wiped out RJ Bishop. All 3 drivers involved in this might be able to continue. Though remember, the impact is at about 190 miles per hour. Let's go to the chopper cam here and just show you how this actually, it formulated very quickly. It looked like it was just going to stay 3 wide, and watch how RJ Bishop sees the gap, gets the run with the push from Zachary Fitzwater, and he forces his way up the middle there. Deaver might not have known that Kyle Matthews was down there to his inside. He was trying to move up, give room, and RJ Bishop was there. And watch this right there. Oh, gosh. That was Ryan Brommer flying in and nearly clobbering the Kroger Ford. So caution out for the 4th time today. Bishop just left pit road. Osborne did as well. Deaver's still sitting on pit lane, but looks like they're going to work on getting that car back out there. And Laura Chung, did she stay out? Wait for scoring to tell us, but I think Laura Chung may have been the only driver that stayed out here under this caution period. So she's going to be the race leader, trying something a little bit differently. One of our multiple rookie winners this year, getting that checkered flag at Watkins Glen, advancing into the playoffs, and as mentioned at the top of the broadcast, came up just, I think it was 3 points short of being in the championship battle here this season. As a matter of fact, you go back to last year, the 77 team and the 78 team out of Iowa Junction Racing were both in the Final Four to compete for the championship. Both cars made the playoffs this year with Ryan Butcher and Laura Chung. Butcher, of course, got eliminated back in the very first round, but Laura Chung advanced her way up into the round of 8 and almost made it into the Final Four. Yeah, looks like Deaver and Osborne and Bishop, they will be able to continue, and it is official. Yeah, Laura Chung did stay out under this most recent caution. Everybody else was on pit lane. So Chris Dollerton in 2nd will have fresh tires. Kyle Matthews in 3rd. Destin Bolin is now in 4th. 5th place, Rob Evans. Then Mitchell Collins, Michael Norman, Zachary Fitzwater, Jose Mills, and Charles Sanford. That's the top 10. 3 of our championship 4 ends up inside the top 10. Charles Sanford's team kind of dropping the ball, a slow pit stop. He was, 3rd when the caution came out? And he came off pit road 9th. Destin Boland's team rose to the occasion. He was 6th, I believe, when they came down pit road, and they gained him 3 spots. He came off of pit road 3rd and will subsequently start 4th for this upcoming restart. So light should be out atop the pace card this next time by. We will get the green flag with 34 laps to go, if my calculations are correct. 35 drivers still running, 34 of them on the lead lap. Jack Dunnard still the only lap machine, 3 laps down. We've had 4 cautions. The other 3 championship competitors have not been involved in any of them. Dunnard currently nursing a sour engine from what we gather. That car just does not appear to be up to speed, and he has not been involved in any incidents to our immediate knowledge. There he is on the inside line once again. Drivers out of the race, if you're just joining us in the 4 cautions we've had, actually only 3 of the 4 cautions have taken drivers out of the race. Now, actually, only 2 of the 4 cautions have taken drivers out of the race. The first 2 wrecks, Nathan Orman, Levi McIntyre, Jesse Turner, Quentin Moore, Jessica Shelton, Ali Liera, and Carson Gum. Back in the garage area, Liera and Gum were out after the first wreck. The other 5 listed drivers were out after the second caution. Third caution, Nick Gunther went for a spin the back straightaway. They've made repairs. He's continued on. And then this most recent caution involved RJ Bishop, Joshua Osborne, Cole Deaver. They have all made repairs, returned to the track, and are still, at this point in time, on the lead lap. Well, Toyota has never won here at Michigan. They've got a Camry out in front for this upcoming restart. The rookie Laura Chung, green flag, back in the air. We're past the halfway point. The question now is, we've had these 4 cautions. We've not been able to get an idea of what the fuel window is. Would these drivers be able to make it 34 laps on a tank of fuel? If we went green to the end, would we still see another pit stop? Charles Sanford going to get held up behind the 88 of Jack Dunnard. Now Dunnard jumps up to the outside line. Sanford, along with Benjamin Miles, trying to make their way by. Sanford's got to catch back up to the lead pack, which right now holds Michael Norman and Destin Bolin, who are side by side for the championship. Michael Norman's going to take the spot there as he moves into the top 5. Michael's got 2 teammates up here in this pack as well. Chris Dollerton in the 43, and just ahead of him, the 33, Mitchell Collins. Destin Bolin does not have a Young Motorsports teammate right now. As a matter of fact, both of his teammates are damaged. RJ Bishop caught up in that most recent yellow. Dylan Young was involved in the wreck back on lap 15. He's running around here without a bumper and off the pace. So for Destin Bolin, it's kind of a do-it-on-your-own situation for driver number 12. Charles Sanford did have Shelton and Deaver and Matthews up with him, as he's now caught up back to this lead pack. But Cole Deaver was caught up in the most recent yellow. Jessica Shelton went for a tumble on the back straightaway under the second caution, so he's only got Kyle Matthews as an ally right now. So in terms of drivers you can work with, teammates you can work with, advantage 22 car at this point in time. But, I mean, if it comes down to the end of the race, I don't think Mitchell Collins or Chris Dollerton are going to push Michael Norman. Especially if there's a race win on the line, they're going to, they could care less. You're a teammate for the first 70 laps of this race, and then the final 10, it's every man for himself. Rob Evans to the point. Mitchell Collins following in line. Rob Evans is the lone driver out of Evans Gardner Motorsports to go to victory lane this season. Ali Liera won earlier on this year, as did Zachary Fitzwater. Rob Evans, 28th in points, 2 top 5s, 7 top 10s, has a pole this year as well. Third place, Sanford gets by Boland. He moves into the championship lead. Samuel Ryder in the 63 will look to his inside and try and kick the 03 up to the top side. And there is Benjamin Miles in the 25 car. Ooh, little contact right there between a couple of former rookie winners. Reese Banks in the 44, Zachary Fitzwater in the 66. Michael Norman split the gap up through the middle there on the 66 car. And now Ryder to the inside of Mitchell Collins. Keith Batson, 2 victories this season for KB Racing Enterprises, the only wins for the organization so far. Nathan Norman and Samuel Ryder have been trying to find victory lane for the first time this season. For Ryder, the first time in his career. He led that lap, and here comes outside pole sitter Noah Hendrickson. Whoa! Benjamin Miles. Was there contact there between himself and his rookie teammate Fogelman? Going into turn 1, he was all out of shape. Nice save by the Hertz Chevrolet Camaro driver, but I don't know what exactly happened there. I don't know if there was contact or if that move was in reaction to Fogelman being below. I don't know what the case was, but that could have very nearly been the 5th caution of the day. Michael Norman's going to push his rookie teammate Rick Johnson to the point. And now Norman wants the spot. Michael has led a lap today, as has Sanford, as has Boland. But remember, those bonus points do not count towards the championship. Laura Chung now back to the point. I'm a little worried about this 77. If this thing goes green, I don't think she can make it on fuel. Slow cars, Dylan Poteet and Austin LaPlante, and they held up Michael Norman. But they have also held up Destin Boland and Charles Sanford, so they're all still wadded up here. Look at Charles, though, around the outside. He's going to get around both LaPlante and Poteet. Norman now going to try and get by Poteet. So Sanford, high, wide, and handsome, going to pick up a number of spots, making his way around the traffic. And he will now move into the championship lead. But look at how quickly Michael Norman, with the drafting help of Caleb Fogler, is going to reel him back in. Jose Mills back to the point, the pole sitter. Well, you'd have to think this would be a track that'd be so difficult to go back-to-back, or go pole to win coast-to-coast, not back-to-back, coast-to-coast. With how much we've seen the lead change back and forth and back and forth. I mean, I've lost count of how many lead changes we've had. At least half the field has led a lap today. Be actually easier to name off the drivers that haven't led yet, as opposed to the drivers that have led. There's a couple of former champions going to go first and second. Kyle Matthews, the championship from last season. Chris Dollerton, the inaugural champion back in season 1. But that's 77 of Laura Chung. We know she was the only one that stayed out under the most recent yellow. So she is going to be shorter on fuel than everybody else. So if everybody is right on the mark to make it to the conclusion of this race, Laura Chung would be a few laps short and would have to make a late race pit stop. This is 5th place on back and 3 wide for the championship. Look at this. Boland on the bottom, Norman in the middle, Sanford on the top side. Charles has to back out of that one. It's now Norman and Boland. Inside advantage would go to the 12. But Michael holding his own there down the back straightaway on the outside line. Now that inside line's going to get the momentum, and Boland will move on by for the position. Now, can this group, who were held up behind the slower machines of LaPlante and Poteet, can they reel in the top 4? It looks like they are. Let me see if the gap closes up here. This lap, they were 2.6 seconds back behind race leader Kyle Matthews, and this time by scoring says at 2.7. They lost a 10th. So maybe they're not reeling him in. Though it visibly looks like they might be closing. Maybe it's because of the 3 wide here, several rows deep, but they are a bigger pack though too. Unless these 4 can get themselves single filed out, then they could pull away, make it a fight amongst themselves. Closing on 20 laps to go, and we got a slow car up ahead. That is Cole Deaver, who's going to yield way up to the top side there for his teammate Kyle Matthews. Laura Chung, Jose Mills, and Dollerton all get by. Now we got to watch this second pack when they reel in the 08. See if they're going to be as lucky, especially those 3 championship competitors. Destin Boland's on the outside line right now in the 12. Norman's on the outside line. Charles Sanford has made his way back to the bottom of the racetrack. Looks like Deaver's going to stay up top, like he was doing for the other drivers. Oh, Fitzwater gets caught out, though. Sanford's going to get by on the inside line. I think Norman's just now made his way down to the bottom. Destin Boland might be trapped on the top, though. He's got to get down to the inside line here quickly. And there's a bunch of cars on his inside line, not allowing him that venue. Can he get down to the middle here? Looks like he'll get to the inside of Reggie Fogelman, so he's going to lose some spots, but he shouldn't lose touch, I don't think, with Michael Norman and Charles Sanford. There is Norman, and there is the 03, who's now been kicked up to the top line. This is still the battle for the 4th position. Here's your top 3. Mills, Dollarton, and Matthews. And then there is this group back here, who I think they're going to catch the top 3. I think that these top 3 better enjoy it while they've got the gap. I think they're getting caught very, very quickly. As soon as the 65 and the 70 latch on to the slipstream of the 09, they will be up there in a jiffy. Slow car Austin the Plant. Look at Mills go to the top. Dollarton goes to the top. Matthews will go to the top. And now everybody closes in on the 48, and they're going to split him. Sanford went around the outside line. Michael Norman's caught in the middle. Now he's going to try and go to the bottom. Nope. Keith Batson boxed him in. Traffic is playing its part into maybe who the champion's going to be. Destin Boland's going to move his way by Michael Norman. Michael trying to get to the inside of LaPlante. He finally will. His teammate Mitchell Collins going to push him on by, but Michael now falls to 3rd of the championship 4. Jack Dunnard's been reeled in. He's trapped another lap down. I think I just heard someone on pit road. Yeah, RJ Bishop just on pit lane in the 98 car. Chris Dollarton's gotten held up behind Dunnard and Dylan Poteet. Sanford's gotten past all of that. Next car they'd have to deal with is Dylan Young, and he's coming out of turn 4, so no traffic to deal with, at least in the current near future for the race leaders. Let's see how everybody cycled out of our championship 3, since right now Jack Dunnard is not even in the conversation, currently 4 laps down. Sanford is in 8th. Michael Norman is now in 15th. And Destin Boland is in 12th. Correction, make that 9th. Norman is in 14th place, I do believe, and just took 13th from Reggie Fogelman. So now Sanford's hoping that this lead pack keeps it together, because Jack Dunnard is quite a ways back here with a bunch of fellow Mustangs, Benjamin Snyder and Rick Johnson, Keith Batson, Michael Norman in this group as well. They've got to reel in this first pack if they're going to catch Charles Sanford and battle for this championship. That is, if pit road doesn't play a part before the conclusion of this race. James Qualls, I believe, led that lap. Squeezes down on the passenger side door of Rob Evans, who will take the lead now through 1 and 2. Right now it is Charles Sanford in the 4th position, battling for 4th with Noah Hendrickson, who holds the championship as things currently stand. Destin Boland and company in this pack trying to reel him in. Michael Norman is in this pack as well. Pit stops. Boland is in, along with Hendrickson, Hoer, Rick Johnson, Caleb Fogler, Zachary Fitzwater, Chris Dollarton. Ryan Butcher just completed his service. Here's the big question. We went back green with 34 to go. These pit stops taking place on with 15 to go. So that would have been about 18 to 19 laps that they would have gone here on a tank of fuel. So that says, right, this would be the only pit stop. They weren't able to make it, so they might be kind of splitting this in half. Rob Evans is in this time. Charles Sanford and his teammate Kyle Matthews. As Samuel Ryder stays out. Let's see if Norman comes in this lap. Yes, he does. The 22 is in behind Keith Batson. His teammate Mitchell Collins came down as well. Anthony McCurry and Benjamin Miles. Samuel Ryder inherits the race lead as he stayed out along with Qualls and Mills. Execution on pit road could be the key into whether you're going to win this championship or not, and merging back with a pack of cars could be important as well. Looks like Ryder's got his hand out the window. He's coming this time. Qualls and Mills are going to follow. Had a second group back there, and Benjamin Snyder of that second group will stay out an extra lap. Fogelman and Gunther on pit road. Saw the 12 of Destin Boland He was able to come out with a group. Chris Dollerton and Zachary Fitzwater. We'll see if that's going to help him once everything cycles back around. 22 of Michael Norman did not come out with a pack. He might try and latch on here to the 80 of Noah Hendrickson. Charles Sanford, he was able to hook up with the 65 of Rob Evans. And Snyder, the race leader, now in. I believe he is the last driver that we were waiting on for this pit stop cycle to conclude. This might, right here, be the race lead. Evans, Sanford, and Kyle Matthews, potentially. There's the 38 of Jose Mills. He was the other driver I was wondering about. I don't know if he's going to be able to latch on to these top three or not. Cody Lamas. He got trapped a lap down, it looks like, in the 13 car. Michael Norman has now found some friends to work with. Reggie Fogelman, Nick Gunther, Will Hoare, and Zachary Fitzwater have now caught up. You got Keith Batson and Mitchell Collins, Destin Boland, Chris Dollerton, Anthony McCrory. This might be the pack right here to reel in everybody else. Jack Dunnard leaving pit road. Multiple laps down, 4 laps down right now. His championship hopes were almost over before they started. Mechanical problems plaguing him in the early going, and he has not been able to get back on the lead lap. And the worst part for him is none of the other championship 3 have had issues here today. So Fogelman, I believe, is up to 8th place. This group right here is somewhat broken up, a pack of about 5, where Charles Sanford currently resides in. Oh, slow car LaPlante, contact between himself and Rob Evans, and Sanford's getting held up. Here comes that group. Here comes that pack. Do they have enough time? This group right here is going to be held up a ton. Sanford is able to get by along with Matthews. Now for Michael Norman and Destin Boland, when they catch the 48, they cannot spend any time slowed up behind. They have to get by immediately, and Norman and Boland are on the outside line. They got to get to the bottom. There's a gap behind the 61 for the 12. I don't know if the 22 can get down there in time. No, neither of them can. They got to get down there. Now they will. Keith Batson's going to help them with that. But they're going to lose touch with that pack up there. This is not what either the 22 or the 12 needed, as we're closing in on 10 laps to go. Rob Evans making quick work of Dylan Young. Now Dylan. Will he be the X factor here and hold Charles Sanford up? Kyle Matthews going to get to the inside. Sanford's on the top right now of the lap machine of Cody Lamas. Now Sanford will get to the bottom. Oh, I really think the amount of time they spent behind the 48 of Austin LaPlante, that really killed the chances. Oh, we got a wreck! Someone just got spun. Dylan Young! Look out! Oh, no! Boland and Norman both involved. And they're still wrecking. That's Caleb Fogler. Up and over. Nick Gunther just got clobbered by Reese Banks. And the wreck continues over into the exit of turn 2. Caution is out. And Michael Norman and Destin Boland were both involved. That might be the championship signed, sealed, delivered right there for Charles Sanford. Dylan Young was a slow machine. I believe it was Reggie Fogelman in the 24 that might have gotten into him. And the wreck started from the entrance to turn 1 and ended all the way over at the exit of turn number 2. Big hits for Caleb Fogler, Nick Gunther, and Reese Banks. Pit road will be open, but I don't think anybody's going to use it. They were all on pit lane about 5 to 7 laps ago for what was going to be their final pit stop of the day. Kyle Matthews showing the way here. Let's go back and see what happened. Oh, Michael Norman sitting on pit road. 12 of Destin Boland, we know, has got damage. This, I thought, had to do with Dylan Young. Oh, yeah, it actually does. Dylan was so off the pace, and the 24 of Fogelman, I think, had a lot of momentum going into turn 1. Watch this. Oh, no, it had nothing to do with them. That was Rob Evans, got turned by Jose Mills while trying to get around Dylan Poteet. Oh, there's Norman, there's Boland. And then watch this. Oh, gosh. Caleb Fogler comes flying in, as did Nick Gunther. And then watch Gunther. Oh, he gets clobbered by Ryan Brommer. I didn't even see the 87. I thought it was Reese Banks that got him, but Banks got into the back of Brommer. The wreck just kept going and going and going. Well, we got the time. Let's get as many camera angles as we can on this one. Rob Evans, this was... Well, Evans had actually led the last lap. He had just crossed the line as the leader. So what you're watching right here when Matthews makes the pass, that's the battle, the pass for the race lead. And then Mills, oh, Sanford was right there. Sanford got forced down to the apron. He almost was involved in this also. And then Dylan Young gets pile driven. Oh gosh, oh my goodness. And then it's not over. There's Brommer and Reese Banks. Wow. Well, Michael Norman and Destin Boland, the question is, if they had not been held up behind Austin LaPlante, would they have gotten through this wreck? And, the answer is maybe not. With where they were positioned, they might have been involved in this wreck one way or another. I want to take a look at this from the original camera shot that we had, and I want you to notice that Charles Sanford made contact in this wreck. Watch here. Right there. He gets forced down to the apron. So he was involved in the wreck. He just didn't get damage. I think Mitchell Collins got a piece of that. Oh, pretty good hit there with the left front for Destin Boland. Michael Norman, the whole right front ripped off. That's some big hits at over 190 miles per hour. Well, let's take some onboards. Michael Norman, absolutely nowhere for the 22 car to be able to go. Championship hopes go up in smoke, just like this. Oh, that hit there from Fogelman into Young. If it hadn't have happened, Norman and Boland would have been fine. Now listen to this. Oh, that right there you just heard was the shot from Ryan Brommer into the back of Nick Gunther. Well, we had a lot of question marks as to who the champion was going to be. And now it looks like it is almost all but decided. Jack Dunnard was trapped multiple laps down in the early going, so we knew we were basically eliminating him from the championship picture. Michael Norman, he is officially out of the race. Looks like he will finish 29th in the final race of the 6th season of the Duracell Cup Series. Destin Boland, he's continued on in the 22nd spot, so he needs in these final 5 laps Charles Sanford to have an issue to be able to snipe away this championship. Charles is going to restart in the 4th position, make that 3rd position rather, behind Kyle Matthews and James Qualls. RJ Bishop is a lap down, but with it being less than 10 to go, the lap down cars line up single file, intermingled with the lead lap cars. So Bishop may be second in line, but he is not on the lead lap at this point in time. Anthony McCurry, Jose Mills, that's going to be the top 5, with Will Hoare, Samuel Ryder, Keith Batson, Zachary Fitzwater, Chris Dollerton, the top 10. Looks like 22 cars will be on the lead lap. We currently have 27 cars running. Drivers officially out of the race from that wreck. Caleb Fogler, Reggie Fogelman, Ryan Brommer, Rob Evans, Michael Norman. Tough break here to end out his season, battling for the championship. A DNF for him. Nick Gunther, Reese Banks, and Dylan Young all back in the garage area. After this, our most recent and 5th caution of the day. Hopefully it's our final one of the season. 5 laps to go for Kyle Matthews, looking for his 2nd win on the season, 1 week removed from just missing out on battling in the championship 4. If you're Charles Sanford, just keep yourself out of trouble. The 12 obviously cannot be up to speed with the front end damage we saw him sustain in the wreck. Just do not be involved in something here in the closing stages. Just bring that thing home in one piece. James Qualls moves into 2nd place, looking for his 1st win on the year. Trying to join his teammates Joshua Osborne and Quentin Moore as rookies this season out of JAM. Sanford has cleared around RJ Bishop. Anthony McCrory follows as well. That's your top 4. Chevrolets all. 4 laps to go. Still a long ways left. 8 miles here at Michigan. Anything can still happen at this point in time as the top 4 are all nose to tail pulling away. Now Sanford is going to jump out of line. Sanford wanting the cake and the icing on top. Win the race and the championship. But here come the Mustangs. Will Hoer, Samuel Ryder. And not too far back behind them, Keith Batson, Jose Mills, Mitchell Collins, and Chris Dalwerton. Ford looking for their 4th win here at Michigan. I misspoke earlier when I said they had 4 victories already. Alex Tankard, the defending winner of this race, actually won in a Chevrolet. Guess what team it was for? Joanna Atwood Motorsports. You've got a Joanna Atwood Motorsports Chevrolet right there in 2nd, maybe looking for back-to-back years that the team captures a checkered flag at Michigan. Sanford now under fire for 3rd. That's Will Hoer on the bottom. Winner earlier on this year at Las Vegas. The first rookie to actually find victory lane of the 9 that eventually took a checkered flag here in Season 6. I don't know if Matthews is just doing a good job controlling the run of the 70 car or if Qualls is lying in wait, picking his moment, but he's got 1.5 laps left to do something. Will Hoer into 3rd. Sanford very comfortably in 4th. Looking to bring home a 2nd straight championship for S3 Motorsports. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go. Might be 3 wide for 2nd if Hoer can get to the inside of Qualls. He cannot. Top 5, all single file here. Who makes the move down the back straightaway? Can Qualls get enough of a run? Does Hoer make the move on him for 2nd? Still single file. Hoer's going to jump out of line on Qualls for the runner-up spot. That may be all she wrote. 1 season removed from Kyle Matthews winning the championship for S3 Motorsports. He's going to pick up the win here in the season finale, and Charles Sanford is the Season 6 Duracell Cup Series champion, bringing it home in P4. What a day for S3 Motorsports. The win with Kyle Matthews, the championship with Charles Sanford. It is Kyle Matthews' 2nd win on the season. He had that top 5 run last week. You kind of think about what might have been if Matthews had been able to advance into the Final 4. He might have been a back-to-back champion, but if he can't win the championship, a checkered flag is certainly a great consolation prize, and his teammate Charles Sanford right there behind him actually finished 3rd, did Charles, to pick up the championship, the first of his Duracell Cup Series career. Gonna be a big celebration at the S3 Motorsports headquarters here tonight. What a race, what a finish. What a set of storylines here to end out the year at Michigan. I'm not going to lie, a lot more exciting than Homestead. I think Michigan may be a mainstay as the season finale here in future Duracell Cup Series seasons. Standings are official. Charles Sanford far and above the highest finishing of the championship. The next highest was Destin Bolin in 22nd. So Sanford didn't even have to finish inside the top 10 or the top 15 to be able to bring home this championship, but strong outings for the S3 Motorsports Chevrolets of Sanford and Matthews, making up 2/3 of the podium, bookending the Ford of rookie Will Hoer. Samuel Ryder, a great run for that rookie as well to cap off his rookie season. He gets 4th, and James Qualls is going to bring it home in the 5th position. Great season for Qualls despite not being in the playoffs. Benjamin Miles, dead last in points. I don't know if he'll finish out the season dead last in points. More than likely he will. But nice to see him end out the year with a decent run in 6th. Laura Chung brings it home in 7th. As a matter of fact, Laura Chung did make it on one less pit stop than everybody else. Remember, she stayed out under that one caution period. She actually did make it the rest of the way. So kudos to her. That track position strategy call worked out in her favor. She gets a top 10 run. Benjamin Snyder, great way to end out his rookie season. He gets 8th. Chris Dollerton brings it home in 9th. And Noah Hendrickson, after starting on the outside of the front row today, he brings it home in the 10th position. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rookies up inside of our top 10 in the final race of the season. Batson 11th, McCurry 12th, Collins, Mills, and Fitzwater, the rookie of the year here for season 6, gets 15th. Then Cody Lamas, Rick Johnson, Ryan Butcher, Joshua Osborne, and Matt Haas. That was the top 20. Daniel Voiles and Destin Bolin were the last drivers to finish on the lead lap. And then you see the remainders of the championship for Bolin in 22nd. 4 laps down, and 27th was Jack Dunnard. Mechanical problem in the early going. Never got a fighting chance. That's such a tough break. After he had a great qualifying effort up inside the top 5 to start this race as well. And then Michael Norman caught up in that last wreck there over in the vicinity of 1 and 2. DNF to end out the year for Michael Norman after he had that last-minute victory last week at Rockingham to battle for the championship, but just could not avoid the carnage there in the latter stages, and he will finish 32nd back behind the wall for the final race of the season. Several drivers back in the garage area. Looks like 14 in total. But now they're going to put this race, repress it from their memories, and look ahead towards Season 7 of Duracell Cup Series competition, beginning at the Mecca of Motorsports, Daytona International Speedway. But congratulations to Kyle Matthews on the victory here today. He becomes the 9th different multi-time winner on the season. S3 Motorsports gets their 2nd straight championship, and congratulations, Charles Sanford. First time he is a Duracell Cup Series champion here on the NNSCRA Sports and Gaming channel, bringing it home in a very respectable 3rd place. Hope you guys enjoyed today's race and this season. If you did, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe to become a part of the crew today. We showed you your full feature results, and you are now looking at your final point standings, your final playoff standings here for Season 6. Zachary Fitzwater, Rookie of the Year. Charles Sanford, Champion. Who is going to be able to say that they have those accolades in upcoming Season 7? We're going to have to wait and find out. Going to be a long off season. Going to be seeing some different changes take places. Some new faces potentially in new places. Maybe some new faces overall. We had a heck of a rookie class here in Season 6. Going to be looking forward to seeing what kind of a rookie class we have for upcoming Season 7. But thank you all for sticking with me here during the course of this 6th season of the NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series. Until next year, I've been Seth Cole, and for one final time, you've been watching another broadcast of the Duracell Cup Series, courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best. Charles Sanford is the Season 6 NNSCRA Duracell Cup Series champion.